Good afternoon. So yesterday we talked a little bit about how the egg and the sperm can find each other so that way they can fertilize and make some babies. So I just thought I would throw my extra 2 cents in and show you things, easy ways that you can not make a zygote and to not look like this big fatty right over there. So let's see what we can do to not have a baby. Alright, first of all, what we're going to do is go through some major birth control methods, and so each one kind of looks like this. What is it? How does it work? How do you use it? Where do you find it? How good is it at preventing a pregnancy? How good is it at preventing sexually transmitted diseases? And what side effects might you expect from it? So every single one will have this type of thing. So first one we're going to take a look at is called the cervical cap or diaphragm. So the cervical cap is much smaller than the diaphragm. How does it work? You've got that's the bottom of your uterus there. There's the vagina. And yeah, I have to say it like that. Sorry, vagina. And so what happens is that the cervical cap it's a soft rubber cup that covers the cervix, preventing the sperm from getting to the egg. So the cap, which is small, pretty much just kind of goes over this, whereas the diaphragm is big and goes over that. And so what you do, how to use it, you place the cap over the cervix, which is kind of interesting because you kind of shove it up there with your fingers. You need to add something called a spermicide. It's a cream that you apply all around there. And in conjunction with the diaphragm or the cap, it helps to kill any sperm that make their way up there. But here's the thing, you got to leave it in for 6 hours after sex because you want to make sure that all the sperm are dead before you pull it out. Because if you take it out and the sperm are still alive, well, the sperm can still make their way inside, scoring a goal. How is it at preventing pregnancy? Not great. 80-90% effective, which is decent, but still 20% for chance of having a baby? No thanks. And how is it at preventing sexually transmitted, I can't say that word, sexually transmitted diseases? None whatsoever. It will not help you at all. What are some side effects of wearing this? First one is called toxic shock syndrome, or TSS. And what that does is if you leave it in there more than the 6 hours, you can start getting bacterial infections or yeast infections and can cause an infection of this whole entire area right there. You can also have allergic reactions if your body does not like the materials that these are made out of, and well, you don't want things swelling up down yonder. All right, next one is the sponge. The sponge is made out of a sponge type material, and what it is, it's very similar to the diaphragm and the cap. It's like a diaphragm and spermicide all built together in one. And so it's a little pillow that fits right there. So again, uterus, cervix, vagina. And so you shove that up inside there. And so it physically prevents the sperm from going through. But if any of them try to creep around the sides, it's got the spermicide inside of it. That will also help to kill any sperm that try to make their way through. How do you stick it in? You have to squeeze it in half, kind of like this little picture over here, and shove it up inside the vagina. Leave it in there. You can leave it in there for 24 hours, but again, needs to be left in for 6 hours after sex to kill any sperm that are floating around in there before you pull it out. Alright, let's see, where can I get it? This one is over the counter. You could just buy it at any old grocery store. In terms of protection, it's about 90% effective, so not bad. Not great, but not bad. No protection against STTs. So the spermicide does nothing to kill viruses and bacteria or anything that can cause, there go the lights, that can cause STDs. Side effects, again, allergic reactions to the ingredients, toxic shock syndrome, and then irritation to the affected area. All right, next one, the female condom. This is relatively new. How does it work? It is a big bag, as you can see right here. One end of the bag is closed, the other end is open. And what you do is, I've got to draw my uterus here. Like that, there's the outside. So what you do is you insert it before sex, you throw it in, so it goes around like that, goes like that. And so kind of comes over on the side like that. Kind of scary looking. And so the bigger ring on the outside should help keep it on the outside because you don't want that rolling and going inside. And so all that happens is it's a big baggie that just catches all the sperm and keeps it away from the cervix, because we don't want the sperm to go in there. And then you have to remove it right away afterwards. You want to trap all the sperm. So there's even a special way. You got to like twist down here at the bottom, trap all the sperm in the little bag, so that way when you pull it out, nothing else comes out with it. Or the sperm stay in the bag. You want to make sure that the sperm don't leak, because any leakage around this area can still cause an unwanted pregnancy. Alright, let's see what else. Where to get it? You can just buy this at the grocery store, so anybody can go get it. Pregnancy protection, 80%, not great, just because of the fact that this outer ring right here, if it doesn't stay in place, you can get some sperm on the outside. We don't want that. STD, hey, protects against most STDs, yay, so that's a good thing. And side effects, you might be allergic to any of the materials. You might get some irritation around the area from just the rings and such like that. We also got something called the Implant. And how does it work? It's a little stick. You can see right down here. It's a little stick that contains hormones that it gets inserted directly under your skin, usually in your arm. And those hormones get released out into the bloodstream and then travel throughout your body. And what happens is it causes some changes to the cervix to prevent sperm from entering. It also prevents ovulation, which is the #1 reason why you can't get pregnant if you don't ovulate. How do you use it? The doctor will implant the rod under the skin of the upper arm, where it hangs out in there for 3 whole years. I don't know about you, but it's kind of weird having something stuck under your arm for 3 years. Where do you get it? You can only get it from a doctor. So it's not something that, not a do-at-home kit where you buy it and shove it under your arm by itself. You got to have a doctor prescription, and you have to have it inserted by the doctor itself. But 99% protection. Yay, good stuff. STD protection, absolutely none whatsoever. So it won't help you at all. Some side effects, as with most hormonal birth controls, weight gain. Sometimes it can only be 5 pounds, sometimes it can be 15 pounds. Changes in acne. You might get some ovarian cysts. Ouch. Might get some mood changes, period changes. Although it could be that the period goes away completely, which is always a bonus for most girls. But all the other stuff in there, you know, it's what do you want? You know, you got to kind of weigh which is which. The IUD, intrauterine D device, usually has some copper involved on there. So the intrauterine device is a little T-shaped thing that prevents the sperm from joining the eggs or the eggs from implanting, because this guy goes right up inside your uterus. If this is your uterus, he hangs out right in the middle. And if there's something inside that causes irritation to the lining of your uterus, which will prevent things from embedding or implanting in it. Sometimes they do release hormones themselves, which causes changes to the cervix and changes to the lining of the inside of the uterus. Where do you get it? I would sure hope you get it from a doctor, because it's up to him to insert it in the uterus for you. It's not like you just go home with a stick and one of those and shove it up inside there. You really hurt yourself. So the doctor has to get it up inside of there, and it can last for up to 10 years. Kind of crazy. It won't fall out. It just sits in there. It doesn't fall out. You would think it'd come out with a period, but these little arms kind of help it stay in place. Protection, 99% protection. Yay. STD, none. Boo. Side effects, you might have some heavier periods due to the irritation inside the uterus, extra cramping, infection of the uterus, ouch, pelvic inflammatory disease called PID. So, you know, there's some bad things about it. Now, this isn't 100% everybody's going to get that, but it can happen. And then we've got the male condom, the most widely used, I'd say, form of birth control. And how does it work? It just has a nice little reservoir at the end here to catch all the extra little spermy guys and prevent them from getting up inside the uterus. How do you use this? Obviously, it is applied over the penis, but you got to make sure that you roll it out, because if you just slide it on, that can rip it. Where do you get it? Over the counter, any drugstore, pretty much anywhere you go. Pregnancy protection, 80%. Not great. But STD protection, much, much higher. Usually they'll have some sort of lubricated latex variety that is less likely to rip, and so that would increase your chances of not getting an STD. Some side effects, some people are allergic to the latex in them and can cause things to swell more so than they should. And it can also cause irritation to both the male and the female. And then we've got the female typical one, which is the pill. Comes in all sorts of different names and varieties. And it's basically a combination of two hormones that causes changes inside the uterus and the cervix to keep the eggs and sperm from meeting, or, that says or over there, or just prevents ovulation altogether. How do you use it? You got to take it at the same time every single day. Same time every day. If you take it a couple hours off or you miss a day, that increases your chances of getting pregnant, tenfold. Where do you get it? It has to be prescribed by a doctor. Pregnancy protection, 91% if used properly. And I know that you can't remember to put your names on paper, so how well you can remember to take a pill every day at the same time. So this one, But another good thing about the pill is a lot of girls will go on it because it helps to clear up their complexion and keeps their face nice and clear. So you may be on it just for acne protection as opposed to pregnancy protection. STD protection, absolutely none whatsoever. Side effects, you can, especially the first couple of days of taking it in the cycle, lots of nausea. It almost simulates a type of pregnancy. You get a little bit of weight gain, get some headaches. Blood clots is a big one, especially if you're a smoker. They will not push you on birth control pills because smoking and birth control pills together equal blood clots in your legs that can go to your brain, your heart, and your lungs and kill you. The pill, the hormones, can also be given in a shot form. So every once a month you go get a shot. You can get a patch, kind of like nicotine patches. And there's also something called the Nuva ring, which is a little ring that goes up. Here's the cervix. It's a little ring that just goes inside, just sits there, doesn't fall out, just hangs out, releasing hormones, and you don't even have to worry about anything. And then we have the weird one called the rhythm method. Well, it's not really weird. It's just not very good protection. This is where you don't have sex during your fertile period. Because remember, if day 14 is when you ovulate, then days 11 through 15 are your fertile period. But not everybody ovulates on day 14. So unless you know your body and your periods really, really well, you don't know when that fertile window is. So trying to avoid having sex during that time might be difficult. So how do you use it? You have to be very meticulous about keeping track of your menstrual history. When do you start? When do you stop? All that kind of stuff. You also use a thermometer to take your body temperatures early in the morning. And if your body temperature begins to rise, it means you're probably about to ovulate. And so you pay attention to when you ovulate and avoid those times. Where do you get it? Well, it's kind of, you already have it. It's free. But there's lots of apps out there that let you track and detail everything and just let you, it kind of warns you, hey, this is your fertile period, time to be careful. Pregnancy protection, yeah, I wouldn't count on it. I don't have an actual number, but it's not that great. STD protection, again, none. And side effects, well, the side effect is pregnancy because your body is not, probably early, your body is not set up to be regular yet. That's usually past your 20s maybe, but yeah, your body is unpredictable. It does what it wants to do. So even though you say, but I'm not supposed to ovulate for another 10 days, and you decide to get, and your body says, oh, too bad, you can still get pregnant any old time. So not the greatest method to use. We got the morning after pill, which is, I wouldn't use it religiously. It's just only in emergency situations have they made this. And what it does has a high doses of hormones. So it's kind of like the birth control pill times 100. And what it does is whatever, if there was a pregnancy, these hormones will cause your uterus to go into menstruation. And whatever pregnancy that might happen to be there will flush away with it. So how do you use it? You got to take it within 5 days of unprotected sex, because that's about when implantation is going to begin. So you want to wash everything away before that can happen. Where to get it? You can get it over the counter if you're over 17. It's about 89% effective, but a couple of bad things. 1, no STD protection. 2, nausea, vomiting, abdominal cramps, headache, dizziness, irregular periods, fatigue. Sounds horrible. So you want to use this as an all-the-time thing. This is purely in case any of the other ones didn't work. This is a backup plan. Actually, that's why they call it the backup plan. But I'm going to give you my idea of perfect birth control pill. It's called Abstinent. How does it work? You don't have sex. How do you use it? Don't have sex. Where do you get it? Free! You can get it anywhere because you're not having sex. Pregnancy protection, 100% without fail. STD protection, 100% without fail. Side effect, no unwanted pregnancy. Yeah! So, this would be my #1 version of abstinence, but that's just the mom and me speaking. But, you know, yeah, I'll just stop there. All right. So the next page, the note check is a little bit differently. It's not necessarily right and wrong answers, more of your opinion answers. So, #1, what do you think is the easiest form of a birth control for a woman to use? So whether you're a woman answering for a woman or a man answering for a woman, which one do you think would be the easiest for her? 2, which one do you think is the easiest for a guy to use? Well, there's not a whole lot of options for guys, is there? Yeah. 3, which one of those mentioned would you not want to try? You know, like the implant because you don't want that thing stuck in you, having a copper T shoved up inside of your uterus. Which one would you not want to try? 4, which form has the lowest failure rate, meaning which one is the best? And then, curious question, whose responsibility is it to take care of birth control? The guy or the girl? Hey, sorry, I'm finishing up my notes. So I got your thing.
Okay.
Anyway, that's Danny. He's just coming in now. You'll see you on your notes later. You want to say hi to the camera?
Oh, hi.
Hi. Okay.
Hello.
So,
I'm also here.
and Brady, and the lights are back on. Yay! So, whose responsibility is it? There actually is a right answer to that. So, I will see you all tomorrow. Have fun. Bye.
Bye, guys.